Hey guys, what's happening? So we are back for more of Jonathan Hickman and Greg Capullo's Wolverine Revenge. And if you're just hopping in here and you need to get caught up, I got a playlist in the description where you can check out our coverage from the beginning, just in case you stumbled across this video and you're wondering why Wolverine's seeking revenge. But whether you are new or returning, if you're enjoying these videos, do be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications. Alright, so coming back, we pick up not long after Wolverine had just crossed Sabretooth off of his hit list, which now just leaves Colossus, Omega Red, and Deadpool left to go. But as it stands, Deadpool's a moving target, so going forward Wolverine's just gotta make his way to Colossus, cause he knows Omega Red won't be too far away. So the plan right now is just that Wolverine will find Deadpool after that. And so to get to Colossus, Wolverine's gotta get on a cargo ship that at this point is mainly being used for gun running through the Strait of Gibraltar. And in this world where paper money no longer has value after the fallout caused by the crashing down of Asteroid M, these guys also transit people as well, but they're not letting anyone on the boat unless they have authorization or gold. And it's also one of those things where it's like, these guys, they're not trying to sell the opportunity of transit as well. So for anybody who approaches them, it's like you either got what they want or you don't. So after waiting in line and listening to these guys more or less tell the crowd that they're not doing handouts, Wolverine makes his way to the front and he tells them that he's getting on this boat, and if they plan on taking the trip with him, they'll step aside. And so of course this led to Wolverine getting on the boat, and following this it is a long, quiet trip to revenge. Because even after the ship docks, Wolverine has got quite the hike to get to his destination, and as he gets closer he sees one of the sure signs of confirmation, with the nuclear reactor burning in the distance. But Logan can't help but to notice something's not right, because this reactor is burning a lot brighter than it should be, and as it would seem it's just been left deserted to run hot and melt down. But Wolverine quickly finds out that it hasn't quite been deserted when Omega Red pops up on him with a surprise attack. And much like we saw with Sabretooth, Omega Red is not surprised that Wolverine survived being blown up from the inside out, but instead he's looking at Wolverine like, oh, you must crave pain. That's what called you here. But Wolverine is just like, pain is nothing on the road to revenge, and he lets Omega Red know that he's just a speed bump on that road. And throughout this fight between the two of them, we find out that this power source that they have, that was made possible by Unus the Untouchable, sacrificing his life, it's not going to last much longer. And as Omega Red would put it, the power source was incompatible with the furnace. And we'll talk more about the details of the reactor in a little bit. But in the here and now, with Wolverine fighting Omega Red, he's already impaled Wolverine with his carbonadium tentacles, injecting a plague into his stomach, only for Wolverine to cut himself free and push right through the pain. To where next he takes one of the broken tentacles, wraps it around Omega Red's neck, and he pulls till he hears it crack. Which from here X's another member of the new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants off of the list. And now with Wolverine knowing without a doubt that this reactor has gone bad and this place is melting down, he's just like, hey, maybe I should leave a warning sign to let people know not to come too close. So as a warning sign, he just ends up hanging Omega Red by his own broken tentacle. So if anybody heads this way, they'll see him and be like, oh, maybe we should not go this way. But as Wolverine heads closer to the reactor, he sees someone standing at the top. And as soon as he sees this silhouette, he's just like, yeah, of course. So he makes the climb all the way up there so he can have a chat with this someone who is none other than Deadpool. And for a moment here, he just looks at Wolverine like, what? No flowers? And Wolverine tells him, oh, I had some, but they died along the way, like almost everything else on this godforsaken planet. But right here, instead of these two just fighting on site, they just sit down and have a conversation here on the top of this reactor, which is burning their clothes and their skin away. And right here, Deadpool, he opens up quite a bit, because he tells him he does feel bad about what happened as far as Asteroid M crashing down and creating this huge EMP, even though he had nothing to do with it. I mean, it still sucks. So next, Wolverine asks him what's wrong with the reactor. So Wade tells him he doesn't know. Perhaps it was a stupid plan, because after they installed it, it was leaking radiation every week or so, and now it's at the point where it's belching fallout every 20 minutes. So he tells Wolverine like, you'll see. But right after that, Deadpool admits that he feels terrible about what he did, and he goes on to say, maybe I could live with it if everything turned out okay, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I chose poorly, which is nothing new, but normally I do a pretty good job of getting over regret, or just pushing the pain down until I forget that it's there, but not this time. It's too much. So Wolverine's just like, well, I suppose that settles it then, referring to the argument that people like him and Wade never pay for their sins, and that they just heal and move on. So after this, Deadpool just gets up, and he prepares to take his swan dive into oblivion. But before he does, he tells Logan, I'll see you on the other side, and I'm sorry I blew up your friends. But just as Wade leans forward to take that dive, Wolverine grabs the back of his belt, and he tells him, sorry, I just can't watch you do this. And it just has Wade overjoyed that Wolverine saved him, like, oh, you don't want me to die. And Wolverine tells him that this isn't the answer. So right there, Deadpool's just like, oh, this means you want us to team up one last time and right all our wrongs? Because if that's the case, Deadpool's like, I'm with it. So before they get down from here, Wolverine asks him, do you think someone who's done all the things we've done can be forgiven? And Deadpool's just like, yeah, you know what? I guess I do. So after hearing this, Wolverine just pushes Deadpool inside of the reactor. And he's like, I don't. And it's wild because he just saved this man's life only so he could kill him himself. And man, I'm not gonna front. The first time I read this, Wolverine had me going too. But after seeing this, I was like, you know what? The story is called Wolverine Revenge. And I mean, it's not like he's out here on a forgiveness tour. So it only made sense that he'd kill Wade. And following this, we jump forward 1 week later, where we find Logan digging a grave. And it's crazy how this is set up because Wolverine is digging this grave just outside of the home where Colossus is staying. And when he's done, he just calls out to him like, hey, I know you see me in there. It's not like I'm trying to hide. And he's more or less like, how are we gonna do this? You coming out or are you gonna make me come in? So he steps outside, and I gotta say, it's kind of funny looking at comic book size accurate Wolverine standing in front of Colossus. And Logan even jokes about it a bit here because he looks up like, man, you gotten bigger. But for a moment here between the two of them, there's a bit of an exchange where on one hand, Colossus is telling Logan to go home because he doesn't want it to end like this, while on the other hand, Logan's asking if anyone's inside. When he tells him there is, Logan's just like, okay, I'll make sure to mark your grave so they know where to find you. But this whole talk is like the calm before the storm, to where eventually you see Colossus' skin convert to its organic metal, Wolverine's popping his claws, and the next thing you know, they're going at it. Because it's like these guys have known each other for years. And another thing that kind of got me here is like this moment where Colossus, he grabs Wolverine's face and he just chucks him. And it just had me like, oh, he remembered the fastball special. Though, I mean, before it used to be a consensual move. But nonetheless, Hickman and Capullo really sell this fight as one that feels like it's between two guys who've known each other for years. Where on one hand you have Colossus, who's defending the idea of him having to do what he had to do, given the circumstance that the world fell into. While on the other hand you have Wolverine, who feels betrayed, and especially because someone like Colossus, and I mean you could say the same for Nightcrawler, they're like the last members of the X-Men, who you would expect to go down a dark path. And I'm sure at some point we'll learn that there's more to it as far as Colossus, because I mean, it's gotta be. And I mean, we kinda get that here, just after Wolverine gets a clean slice out of him, because he ends up telling Logan, sometimes you have to pick a side, even allies that you despise, because it's what's best for your family. So Logan tries to tell him here, I was your family, but Colossus is just like, no, you were my friend, and that was not enough. So at this point, I can only imagine that he did all this for his sister, Illyana, or maybe even his brother. Though I'm not really sure what family this Colossus has left, but just after he tells Wolverine that he was his friend, and that was not enough, Colossus just rips his arm off, which right away has me thinking about the multiple times that we've talked about Wolverine being dismembered. And when we do, I usually see someone asking, how did he rip his arm off? His bones are adamantium. And someone's gotta tell him, yeah, his bones are adamantium, but his joints, or his tendons, ligaments, are organic. And in the case of ball and socket joints, you don't need to break the adamantium, you just need it to give a little, and everything else is gonna tear. So to me, I've always seen it as possible, but I'll admit when Colossus does it here, I didn't see it coming. But just before he goes for the kill, he tells Logan, I'm sorry it ended this way. And Logan tells him, yeah, me too. Just before he uses that other hand, that also has adamantium claws, and he puts them right through Colossus' skull. And after that, Wolverine just picks up his arm, pops it back in, lets it heal up, just before he carries Colossus over to his grave that's been sitting over there waiting on him. So I can only imagine after this, who's left behind in that house, because we just might be seeing their revenge story really soon. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support, and for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below. where you can go to patreon.com/DopeSpill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.